VOSTAR Africa is brought to you by Voiceover Workshop and Media, proudly supported by...
Welcome to VOSTAR Africa, where dreams take flight and legends are made. Last week, the competition was so intense, it pushed our contestants to their limits. But remember that on this journey, only the strong survive. And we had to say goodbye to the fantastic duo, OA Voiceovers and Vanny. This week, with 8 contestants left, they have to work together as a team. Will they rise together, or will the pressure tear them apart? I am your host, Jadesola Adewodun, ready to bring to you another exciting episode of VOSTAR Africa.
VOSTAR Africa is brought to you by Voiceover Workshop and Media.
Let's meet our judges, our legendary judges, the voices behind the verdict. The visionary, King E, the eloquent Chioma BBB, the amazing Ahide, and today we have a guest judge who is known as the Bandmaster, the founder of the Voice Over Academy, Sheil Shobo. Over to you, judges.
Hello and welcome to VOSTAR Africa. It's beautiful to be here again. Welcome. I'm looking forward to an amazing time, and I'm sure my other judges are also looking forward to a great time. Hey, Choma, what's up? How you day?
Hi, my name is Chioma BBB. I'm called the Big, Bold, and Beautiful. And yes, very excited about this episode.
My name is Ahide Adum. This is VOSTAR Africa. Like I always say, this is where we light up the whole continent. I'm always proud, and I consider it a great privilege to be here.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sheil Shobo. It's so good to be here for the VOSTAR Africa semifinals, I believe. It's so good to be a guest judge here, and I can't wait. I can't wait to, just hear every talent, see all the talents, and see what they have to do, because Africa is so gifted. We are talented, and honestly, VOSTAR Africa, it's been back-to-back hits. The episodes have been back-to-back hits, and I'm so glad to be here with the rest of the judges. All right, let's go.
All right, beautiful one. Yes, welcome, Sheil Shobo. It's good to have you here doing this with us. We truly, truly appreciate it. But of course, let's just gist a bit, right? Before we go into the nitty-gritty or the meat of the day. Of course, Chioma and Ahide, big shout out. We've been doing this for, I think, 4 weeks now. And of course, Sheil Shobo, I know that you've seen some of the episodes. But what has the experience been? Let me anchor this particular, segment. What has the experience been? For me, I think it just gives me hope for the voiceover industry across Africa. We have a contestant from Uganda. We have one from Cameroon, and this is we intend that this grows across the continent. And I think that this will spotlight the voiceover industry in ways that we've never really experienced, right? And it has been tiring sometimes. It has been like, should we continue? But exciting at the same time, that kind of thing. You can't drop the ball. You have to keep pushing. But Chioma and Ahide, what has it been for you?
I mean, Shobo is our guest, so I'd let Shobo speak first.
Well, to be honest, I've been watching the episodes, and I would say that one thing about Africa, is that there's a lot of hope, like King E said. There's a future for this industry. There's a future for this industry with the kind of talents. And one of the things that we must also understand is that this is also a training ground. It's more like a boot camp. It's more like, it's a training ground for this talent. So Even if you decide if you're not going to be the winner, one of the things is you should be grateful that you're even here because, it's the feedback is going to, these are people with years of experience. If you put the experience that these four people have together, it's almost 100 years of experience. So listen, you are so blessed, right? You're so blessed to be here, and you're so blessed. We're so blessed to have this sort of talent. We're so blessed to also give back, to this industry with such amazing talents.
Yeah. Chema.
Well, I think that this has been such an opportunity to share knowledge, to give back, to add value, and to put a spotlight on the voiceover industry in Africa because we're doing so much and we don't get half the accolades that's deserving. I know that a lot of things in terms of systems that we're still working out, but the opportunity to gather young people who are passionate about the voiceover industry and voiceover artistry and add value to them and help them grow. This is such an opportunity that I think that even if you don't win, you should be grateful that you got the chance to be looked at, put a spotlight on you, and you're able to get critique on your delivery. That is something that none of us in this room, when we started, had the opportunity to get. So that is priceless.
Yeah, on the back of that, I really just feel as if we're all, chess pieces on a chessboard. But I want to say we're winning the game simply because this is a first step. This is something that hasn't been done before. Some pieces are taller than other pieces, but that's not important. The issue is that there's a game to be played. I feel, in terms of how it makes me feel, surreal kind of feeling, but I also feel quite a bit of pressure. This first step, I want it to go right. Everybody's contributing, and I'm praying and hoping that everything just comes together so that at least this first step becomes the standard, and then from here we just keep going higher and higher.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to the grand finale. We all know by now that the grand finale is happening at the Voiceover Conference on the 27th of June. Woo! Looking forward to it. So let's just jump right into today's competition. And, at the end of the day, we'll see who will make it to the grand finale. Shall we, judges? Shall we?
We shall.
Let's do this.
This week, 8 contestants have been split into 2 groups. They had to pick between the numbers 1 to 8. Those who picked odd numbers were put in one group, and those who picked even numbers were put in another group. Now, this time around, only the judges get to decide what team will make it to the grand finale of VOSTAR Africa. And remember, only one contestant takes the crown of VOSTAR Africa. Let's start with our teams. The first team for tonight: Okidi from Uganda, Ruth, Javid, and James Turday.
Benue, once a basket of life, now an altar of blood. In the heart of Goma, under the same sun that grows yam and maize, a mother digs, not for harvest, but for her son.
Aziz. He was just here. We were planting cassava, not digging graves, Aziz.
Mama, the men came from everywhere. I did like you said. I hid behind the mango tree.
You did well, Ife. But they didn't see Aziz as a child. They saw land. Our land. My husband's blood. Now my son's.
The federal government is aware of recent disturbances in the parts of Benue. We are working with security agencies Casualties are being verified and farming activities will resume shortly.
Mama says I must be strong, but school is gone. Our house is ashes. Ada is gone. They didn't just burn our roof, they burned our voices. If I shout, will anyone hear?
They must, Effie. They will. I may be a widow, but I am not voiceless. We carried this nation on our backs, on our heads, with bare hands. We bore sons, fed armies. Now we bury them.
Listen, not all official statements, but to the women nursing wounds they don't report, and children whispering truths to trees. The voice of the African woman and child is not a cry for pity. It's a demand for justice.
Say our names, Oriri. Let the world know we were here.
And if they don't, we'll keep speaking until even the trees remember.
They will, because truth echoes. And you are the voice they cannot bury.
This social change radio drama is brought to you by Voiceover Workshop and Media.
VOSTAR Africa is proudly supported by
Judges, what are your verdict?
I mean, in the light of course, them dealing with the very recent news and the seriousness of what they did, I appreciate the effort. And of course, when you're acting as a group, sometimes you have to just find exactly where it's different from shining individually. One of the things that I think I missed in this particular presentation was I felt maybe some people were not in the right places that they ought to be to deliver the lines that they deliver. I think maybe if they had been shuffled around a little bit, we might have found better places to find better expression for each of them. I'm one person that is a stickler for realism, especially if what you're communicating is just that, reality. Okay? So the voices of the victims, the voices of those that have passed through the trauma, the voices of the announcer, and so on, it can't be left to what I consider to be the form of voiceover. That thing that makes us want to talk as if we are in front of a camera, and it's almost robotic. Yes, the emotion is there, but it's an emotion that is put on. I feel there was a lot of that, and it didn't need to be. I feel if we had all the round pegs in round holes, I think that would have just come across naturally. So overall, I would say maybe I probably would give it maybe a 55%.
Okay, so Benue killings is something that's very close to me because my mom is from Benue State. And I'm in the broadcasting space and I've been reporting some of the incidences. So this was very close to home in more ways than one. And I appreciate that this was done to highlight something that is prevailing in this time. So I love that they did that, not something generic. I give them that. I would say the delivery, I agree with you a lot, Ahide. The way that it was done, there are two people I could point out that did a fantastic job. One would be James Torde. His rendition of a statement was very believable for me. It was something very natural about it. He really, and I like that I've seen him in another light for a change, not announcing something. He's making a speech, and he understands that this is a speech, this is not a voiceover. So I could hear the natural delivery of that speech, you know. I really liked that. Everything else, I do agree that they were playing to the camera more than they were playing to the microphone. So, but it was a good script, and I thought it was a beautiful script. But for the lady, the only lady in the room, in fact, I didn't feel your pain. I felt like you sounded more like someone who's, I'm having a headache, my body hurts, than someone who was talking from the groanings and the moanings of someone who has just not just lost her husband, but lost her son. So I didn't feel that immense pain. And the part where you're supposed to talk about they're going to hear us on one hand, and then you talking about being a widow, I should hear the difference between your conviction and your pain. And I didn't quite get that sync for me. Um, uh, Okidi, you need to pace yourself because you had a whole speech and it was a beautiful speech, but you didn't learn to pace yourself. Pacing yourself allows for you to understand the emotions of this per sentence. And so I feel like it kind of also ended abruptly because of the tone in which you carried on in your, should I call that a narration? But yes, in your narration per se. So it was a really good attempt. I have to give it to you. And I love the fact that it was a timely story that you were covering. Well done, guys.
Right. Mr. Shobo.
All right, for me, the first guy, the first group. This is the first group. Sorry, um, I I would just use one word. It wasn't believable because this is. I always say something about voiceovers. When you do some level of voice, while you might think that you are doing some acting, that is some other people's reality, right? This is people's reality that you are playing out, and you're trying to pass a message, right? Um, if I am somebody who's supposed to empathize with those people, I'm not sure I would get that message or I would feel that way. So for me, it wasn't believable. The whole performance wasn't believable. The first guy, while I love his voice, I think that it sounded more like a spoken word, right? It was like Choma said, it was a bit too fast. But if you go check it, I'm sure he's a very good spoken word artist. However, this is a very delicate and serious matter. It's not something that you can, start using a lot of melodies for. No, and then I also believe I'm not sure about the pronunciation of Benue. I always believe that if you're pronouncing something, whether it's English, Yoruba, Hausa, or Igbo, or any African language, Swahili, right, you must do it correctly, right? I feel that I didn't get enough of that. But at the end of the day, there was no synchronization. There was no the sync wasn't there for me. It wasn't believable. Um, the pronunciations were not good. But the script was fantastic. The script was amazing. I I felt that they could have added more emotions. It would have been more believable if, like Ahidi said, this is realism. Like, so put some real stuff in there because I if I don't know if anybody watched the videos of what happened there. You can't that cannot be somebody's reality, and you're very casual about it. It's not possible. So while I would agree that they were not bad, they had a good script. I feel that it wasn't up to par. It wasn't believable for me. I'm sorry. Um, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. It almost seems like the entire story changed the entire room, the mood of the entire room to a very large extent. So we're like uptight and very serious about what we're saying, and it's good. I think the first thing for me would be linking your message, okay? there has to be that link between a narrator and the person in pain, right? And first of all, the narrator has to be that you are narrating, because I couldn't place whether you are, a public speaker just motivating people, or you were narrating a story, or you were doing a trailer. There has to be that distinct difference between what you're doing, and you're able to carry us. And one of the ways that you can do that is your pacing, just like everyone has said. If that you take that out, then one of the ingredients of narrating a particular situation is gone. So Okidi, on that, you want to look at it. And then of course the connection, like I said, the link between the narrator, the person experiencing it, to the son and to the newscaster, or is it a speaker? That blend wasn't there. I would give it to you guys. I could hear everything you were saying. So you had clarity, your voices were bold enough. I think you took some good time in producing what you wanted to produce and all that. But I kind of think that you didn't get into the emotional state of what you were. Your message is so heavy, right? And for you to really communicate that message, you must get into, some people will say you have to do method acting, if you like, right? If you want to go into the extreme, but you must get into the situation. I watched a video, of people burnt and all of that. And if you see that video, there is no way you would just read it as I'm just reading a script. A lot of the time, voice actors, we forget that we're actually expressing emotion and carrying actual scenarios, not just that it is text, it is me knowing the lines or having a small understanding or a glimpse of what the character should be. It's actually being in there, that sometimes you may even start crying because you're in the moment, right? And one thing with the voice is that it's not always about you knowing what you're supposed to do. It's about whether you're feeling it. And if you don't feel it, the voice will just carry to the extent that your body can experience what you are saying, right? And if you hit it, there's no way anyone listening will not feel that same feeling you're feeling, right? So I think that in general, these are some of the things that you want to consider or look into. But I'll give it to you guys. Good message, timely message, and the boldness in your production. I love it. But I kind of think that there's some really very important or vital ingredients that we're missing. All right.
Thank you to our judges. Your feedback is indeed succinct. In voiceover acting, believability is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. If your audience can believe the truth in your voice, they will believe the character. Now we'll move to the final team for tonight. Are they up for the challenge? Our final team for tonight, we have Voice with Fear, Makera, Nalowa from Cameroon, and Ivitade.
They say every girl has a dream, but across Nigeria, too many of those dreams never take flight. 1 in every 5 girls is married before she turns 18. But this is not just statistics. This is the story of Adasa.
Today was supposed to be my first day in GSS 3. I ironed my uniform, I packed my books. But then Mama says the bride price has been paid. And tonight, I become a wife. I don't even understand what that means. I just know school is over. My childhood is gone.
Some women give everything just to rise. And then society will say, that space is not yours. That is the story of Lillian.
Lillian, please. Don't speak up again. You know how they see women who challenge the room.
So I should shrink? After 12 years! 12 years of building this place from the dust!
No need. They won't choose you. Not when the board is all men.
Then let them not choose me. But they will hear me. I've worked here for 12 years now. Given more than 9 to 5. The sleepless nights. I've missed out on so much to get trained and certified. And after all I've poured into this company, you say I don't belong on the board because I'm a woman? No! My name is not on the wall yet. But my work is carved in every project. I won't be silenced.
Meanwhile, there is Tenny, who is a proof that not everyone bleeds outside.
I was 10. He was family. Uncle, please. Uncle, please, now, Uncle, please. It's paining me, oh, it's paining me, Uncle, please, now. They said I was lying. They said, don't disgrace us, oh. I wanted to run. But where now? When the pregnancy was obvious, where do you hide? How do you hide it? The shame. But the fact, the painful fact, was that they did not believe me. They did not believe me. They did not believe me. The silence still chokes me.
She is not asking for too much, just the right to be safe. When we allow her rise, she will raise nations with her.
This social change radio drama is brought to you by Voiceover Workshop and Media. VOSTAR Africa is brought to you by Voiceover Workshop and Media.
Judges, what is your verdict for our all-women team?
The message is okay. It's a serious message. Not like it's a new topic, but it's a serious message. I liked that they try. I like the fact that the narrator started pretty well. All right. I think right now it's just the narrator that I will say I like, that much, because Naloa Gina, I understand that she's trying to play a young girl, who had pains and all that. I could barely hear what she was saying. Right? I could barely hear what she was saying. And also Makera, the same thing when she played her own role. I was struggling to hear her, which for me, I think that's major. And of course, her production, there was too much noise on the background. And I kind of think that could have been looked into, right? So that we get, because it's a very emotional scene. And if we can't hear you and there's a whole lot going on the background, then it becomes a challenge for us to really just think up what this is about, right? And then Voice with Feel had I know she was angry and all of that, and yeah, performance was okay, but in all, I think that they're just pieces that they have a message, not such a punchy message, right? And I kind of think that a lot of acting or a lot of interpretation of their message could have happened. That's the truth. I think that they could have done way better than what they did. Will I pick them? Will I pick the first guys? Now, at this point, I cannot say.
So for me, I will say this guys, the narrator carried that work, right? She carried it, even though at some point there was some inconsistency, but I believe that she carried it. Her elocution was very good. The tone that she was using to tell the story was quite good as well. Now, the lady that came after her, who was, I'm not sure what she was really acting as, right? I was a bit confused because it wasn't believable. You could see that she was just really struggling to get into what that character, even though her voice, if you didn't see her face, her voice could have really helped her a bit, but you would have still heard that little um that little thing that doesn't just make it believable, right? And then the character interpretation for her and the other lady who had some background noise, it wasn't cool at all. Their character interpretation it wasn't there for me. It wasn't doing it for me. I understand the other lady who I don't know where she was, who had a lot of background. I'm sure there should have been a way for her to clean it up. However, she tried playing different parts. Maybe that's what actually slowed her down because I think she has it somewhere there. If you push her a little bit more, she would get it. But the two people that did it for me were the narrator and the other lady who was angry. Like King E said too, the other lady who was angry was just okay. But I would say everybody probably rode they were riding at the back of the narrator, who somewhat carried the 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 project that they were doing. But the project was quite. I mean, they delivered the message in a fair way, right? Um, I would say it was a bit more believable than the first one to me.
All right. So I would like to say I don't know. I don't agree with King E or with Shobo on certain things. As a group, I would definitely rate this group higher than the group before this. The young ladies that I think the first young lady, I can't remember all their names, but the first young lady, I know she was acting as a young girl, and I think she did well. She got into character. I could hear her clearly. The same thing with Makera. I actually feel that Makera's performance today kind of showed a little bit of the Makera that I was expecting to see. I saw a bit of range with her, and I really appreciate that. I mean, she did two characters in one, and especially when you're dealing with something like an audio book, this is a skill that it's rare, okay? And she did it was distinct. You could tell it was the same character, but it was the character in the moment of trauma and then reflecting on that moment. And I think she did that very well. As a group, I think their interpretation of the message was quite punchy. It was quite on point. I think they passed it across quite well, and I would definitely score them higher marks than the group before this.
So we're together now. I did.
Oh, are we I didn't know we were together.
No, we are not together. Don't worry. We are together, not together.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right.
So
okay.
I find this particular one very interesting. When I watched the two of them, I had two different reactions, but there was something about this one. So I would answer King E's question. I think this is where Ahide and I are on the same page. King E, you said it was like pieces of stuff. And I said, yes. When you were saying it, I was like, yes, it was pieces of stuff put together. The binding factor was Everytade, the narrator. You watched Everytade, that is the narrator, go from, this is me. I watched, at least I listened to her sound young, very young at the beginning, and grow into maturity as she told the different stories. That's the one plus. Number two, they were not playing to the camera. It was very clear. Number three, Naloa Gina. This is the first time I can give Naloa Gina absolute credit. It's not the best work there is on earth, but it is the best he's done so far in this competition. Yes, her voice was low, but don't forget the fact that this child is crying. not just crying, but crying about something that is even too deep for her to decipher. But she knows in her spirit that something has really gone wrong. GSS 3, I'm GSS 1, I'm ready to go to school, and I've even ironed my uniform, and then mommy says they paid my bride price. I don't even know what that means, but I just know something has gone wrong. I applaud her, especially because we know where she's coming from on this journey, being able to be clear enough for me to hear all of that, and I didn't need to overly squint. I could hear it, and I could hear her pain. So there's a level of experience that you have, before you can balance that sound. And I'm saying that she tried even in that little understanding. I really applaud her for that. The thing I do agree with you on Ahide is that Makera, on the first bit, when she was having a conversation with Voice We Feel, I have noticed that Makera, when you're speaking lowly, when you turn your voice down, you talk between your teeth again. You do the thing when you're trying to. So I noticed you did that when you were having the conversation with Voice We Feel. And so, yes, that one got lost on me. I could hear it, but I was squinting, like I was literally straining to hear. Voice with Feel, I think you could have been much stronger, but here's what I appreciate about you. When she told you to be quiet, every time she said, take it down, you got louder. I loved it. I picked up on that. The first time she said, no, but take it down, just take it easy, you were upset. The next time she said, but just take it down, you were louder. And I like that. I feel like you need a little more, you didn't get into the character fully, but it was a very good attempt. Again, with you, Voice with Feel, because I wasn't expecting you to be that firm. So I give you that credit. And then back to Makera, when she was telling the story about her rape at 10. It's the fact that when you hear her, she almost takes you back to the moment, place, and time as she starts to tell you and cry. And then she does the thing that Ahide mentioned. I'm like, thank God someone caught on it, because it was beautiful to see her do the now, back then, and now. And the only way you could tell it's a back then was when it's the color of but you can tell. You can actually, you don't even, in fact, if they didn't do that color variation, you would know, because you could hear the moment all over again. She literally was reliving that moment, and she did it beautifully well. So the second time when you were telling your story, you were actually, I loved that your words were more clear. And I'm going to say this, which is not popular opinion, but another thing I liked about it was actually the ambience. It sounds weird. The only thing is, I wish that you were louder than the ambience a little more, but I loved the ambience. That noise behind took me to a very rural area. Made me feel like they got a chance to interview you in a room, and everyone else is outside doing their thing, because you can't tell the people in the village to shut up because you're shooting. So it felt like it could have been a BBC interview, and you were sitting in that room, in that very rural area, in that local district, and in that house, telling your story inside while the rest of the world was happening. Because guess what? In the time that she did that, what it hit me as was how she was being raped and the rest of the world was going on. I think it was a very powerful message. I think that there are a lot of good ups to this. And yes, there are a few downs, which is clarity from time to time and taking your tone. While we want you to be harsh because of the mood, we want you to also be clear so that the person who's listening doesn't lose you in the middle of it. So this is going to be very interesting.
VOSTAR Africa is proudly supported by
All right, contestants, I know that this journey has been quite a big one for you. So far, so good. And of course, we've talked your ears out in the last few weeks. So it's time to ask you, what's been the journey for you so far? What's your take on the journey so far?
Well, what can I say? To be honest, when I started this journey, it was just for fun. Yeah. But then through the week after week, became more challenging for me. And I think what stood out for me is my ability to show up regardless of what's happening. I'm currently in this location where there's no network, having to stand out, just joining the show. And I feel like this has given me some power that I never knew I had. And that aside, it's also team. The whole team thing is just amazing. You know, I've got to meet a lot of other people, made friends, sort of sisters if I must. But yeah, I think regardless of how today goes, regardless of what the results will be, that for me is a good takeaway from this. And I'm super grateful for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. Hi, judges. Well, I would begin by saying a very big thank you because this whole journey has been challenging. I was even talking with someone and I said that the entire competition is one that pushes us out of our comfort zone, and you wouldn't have ever known you could do something until the competition got you to that point. And I really appreciate the remarks I have gotten and the critical analysis. I don't think I've ever had someone do that to me. So sometimes I feel appreciated, like, wow, okay, that's better. And then the minds I have come across, the people I have worked with, it has been very interesting to even know people outside Nigeria. Yes, so it has been a wonderful journey, and kudos to everyone that's gotten this far. Thank you.
My experience so far has been wonderful. It has been so thrilling. Throughout the competition, I've heard the judges say so many times that I act like a last one. Maybe it's my character, but I'm not counted to make that known. But I realized at the end of this that where there is a will, there's a way, and it has really been challenging. But thank God I was able to make it to this point. So I'm really glad. I appreciate the judges for their critics, and also I've learned a lot during this whole journey. I've learned so much. I appreciate what was said about my performance this day. I mean, I'm glad. I think there has been like improvement from my previous performance. So I'm also happy. I'm glad I met so many beautiful people on here, and well, thank you all so much.
Thank you very much, judges. Thank you very much to the Voice of a Workshop for this opportunity. So far, so good. It's been an amazing experience. It's been an exposing experience, and I sincerely appreciate the opportunity. And I sincerely wish everyone that has come this far and people that have been evicted, I wish everyone the very best in this industry. Thank you very much once again for the comment on our last performance. I am hoping for the best and I wish everyone the best. Thank you very much.
The general preparation for these voiceover auditions has been so amazing to me. I have learned a lot, but besides, I've also realized that sometimes it's not just about the voice, it's about what you want to put out. So yeah, I think I just got a lot of lessons that whatever the case is, I'll be able to do greater than I've been doing. Yeah, so that's what I have to say for today. And maybe the preparation for this final audition has been kind of hard because people in different places to organize and get into one thing to make it one credible video or audio. it's not something easy, but working together to produce something like this has been a big journey, and we were able to do it, even though I understand what the judges talked about and where there needs improvement. Yeah, any other day we shall be able to do that. Thank you.
Well done. And I see that it's been an amazing journey so far. Before we take a quick break, our judges would then decide which team makes it to the grand finale of the VOSTAR Africa. Remember, only one person claims the title, VOSTAR Africa. We're going to pay some bills and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
VOSTAR Africa is proudly supported by
Well, I mean, looking at everybody and listening to both parties, I feel really, if we're really looking at it professionally, I think it should be a tie, you know. Nobody goes.
Yes, now.
I don't know that it's a tie.
It should be a. I mean, because
I think it should be a tie. Really.
If you look at it, for me, there were certain things I felt like, no, this doesn't work for this second group, you know. And there are some things that I felt like they did so well, you know, with the first group. I mean, their clarity,
exactly.
I think their production was fantastic, was better if you want to look at it. But of course, we may not want to say, okay, production wise, maybe delivery wise, you know, there are some things that could have been done. But I think that it's a tie right now.
I can't for the life of me imagine why you would think it's a tie. Look, there is a clear difference. The first group had a message that is more poignant than the second group, and yet their delivery was nowhere close to the second group. All right? If you talk about interpreting the characters, you couldn't feel that in the first group at all. So I don't understand what you mean. You know, actually, Choma, I think what's going on here, right? You know, when I listen to these presentations they make, I don't watch.
Yes.
I look away and I listen. I think you guys are being moved by, you know, what they look like when they see.
Oh,
no, we are not moved by what we see. We are moved by the reports of the Lord.
I mean,
I don't understand.
Even though that should be part of it, I did both. I watched them and I listened to them. Right, you know. So I watched it 2 times. I watched them, and then I put it off. I put it away, and then I listened to them. While I agree with you that the second group had a few advantages, but I'm saying if we're looking at it professionally, because this is a global show. This is a nationwide, regional-wide,
continent-wide, yes.
global-wide. If we're looking at it professionally, right, I will think that it will be a tie with a little advantage, maybe just a little advantage, for the second guys, just a little.
A little more than a little advantage.
Well,
Choma, I understand that you went into the depthness of things, all right? The things we didn't even see, the spiritual eyes that you have, you saw them. I understand that part. But come back to the physical.
So here's
now,
the thing.
let's talk about it.
Look at it this way. I do agree that, let me tell you, it's arguable to even say that the one has a more poignant conversation than the other, in my opinion, because the matter of the girl child will always be prevalent, end of story. It's a patriarchal society across the world, end of story. It will always be poignant no matter what. However, I do agree that the Benue killings is one that touches the soul because
it's not hypothetical.
Yeah, sorry, and could I also say, I'm sorry, Choma, could I also say that the ladies had an advantage because they were women?
Did they really? Because guess what? Men died in the one, and I still didn't feel the pain of the men too.
Well, I mean,
how did the ladies have an advantage?
That young man just
what they were talking about,
and he's able to process his conversation. Like, I didn't feel the confusion at the very least of a child who just lost his brother.
Agree.
Literally. So I have that mother, I couldn't quite feel her pain. She felt like she was having physical pain. I couldn't hear the anguish and the pain and the bitterness of someone losing her husband and her son. And then I couldn't connect when she was trying to have a conversation with her other son, trying to say, I'm writing my pain. And he's saying, Mommy, I hid behind the tree. I wanted to see her almost long for him, like, you're all I have, and then come back and say, yes, but I'm in pain of this one that I lost. I didn't see that movement. It's the sound movement that I was looking for that I didn't see. Not to say that they didn't do a good job, they tried, but the delivery, we cannot put them on the same pedestal. Sorry.
Well, your arguments are valid. I mean, my lord, if I may, your argument.
I was waiting for your big butt.
But okay, let's go back to Jade Sola, and then of course when we return, we'll decide who is going and who is staying or who is making it to the grand finale.
Welcome back to VOSTAR Africa, where dreams take flight and legends are made, and where you get to let your voice shine. Now, to our judges, what team makes it to the grand finale tonight?
So the winners that will be participating at the grand finale, which will be the voiceover conference on the 27th of June, include the following people: Evitade or Evitade, Makera, Naloa Gina, and Voice with Feel. Congratulations. I think you can clap for yourselves. You can give yourselves a round of applause. Congratulations. For the other group, which consists of Okidi, Ruth, Javed, and James Sade, this is not the end. This is actually the beginning, like I have said before. Go out there and shine your light. You guys are stars already. VOSTAR has made you a star, and go and shine. Wonderful. Well done, guys.
Incredible. Well done, guys. I mean, it's been fun. It's been good. And competitions, I personally I don't like competitions, so I don't get into one.
Yeah, but nice one. Yeah,
So you set people up.
But I know that some people do, so we have created a platform for that to happen, right? It's not usually sweet, but you need to know that this doesn't really define so many things, okay? And there are some people in the competition that I'm so proud of, even this group, the group that is not going to the grand finale. I mean, I've seen the growth, right? I have seen the work. I have seen, how much feedback you've gotten. And for me, I'm very confident that your future is brighter than, most of us or any one of us here, because like we said, right, we didn't even have all of this when we all started. See where we are today. To God be the glory, right? It simply means that you can do far more than what we have done. So congratulations to you as well. You should beat your chest and say, yes, you made it this far. You have done well. Well done.
I think I want to say to everyone in the group that is not making it to the grand finale, listen, you have something in you. That's why you've come this far. Okidi, I think you're fantastic. I think you have some work to do, but I think you're well on your way. I hear the sound that you can become. I do hope that you also try to work on being less sort of analsorial the entire time, or less, yes, and try and get some, learn to breathe through your words. Okay, Ruth, I think that you've got it. It's just deep inside. You need to dig deep and bring out your emotions are always almost there. So you need to dig deep and give us from your gut. Let's get it next time from your gut. Javed, you have a beautiful voice. Ahide loves your voice. I know that for sure. And I do too. I think it's a very, very marketable voice. But you now need to hone the skills and ask yourself, how do I, having this great voice, stand out? What is that it factor? What's that thing that makes me tick? Why should anybody call me to do a job rather than anybody else. Because, you know, there are not too many men, but the men that operate in the system and have been in the system, they have found a level of balance in the way that they're able to do this take and then do the other take and sound a little different. So what can I do to stand out and to be chosen? When people hear the bunch of voices, I want this one, right? And finally, James Turdy. I love your voice. And I'm so glad that I got to hear you do this, should I call that a mimic, but take on this character. I think you did brilliantly with it. In the last 2 weeks, I've heard 2 other versions of you, and they just make me like you more. Well done. But, you know, keep going, keep pushing, because you can do a lot better. And if you learn to find your rhythm, learn to do your highs and then find your lows and then find your settle, that zen. If you find that mix, you have something that is going to blow up. So well done, guys, and good luck to you in the rest of your journey as a voiceover artist. Who knows? We might be doing something else together one of these days.
Yeah, guys, listen, it's a competition. Someone has got to win. Everybody cannot win. But here's the thing, right? Just take it, you've been shot out of a cannon, all right? You've been given a launch pad that most people will never have. So take advantage of it. What lies ahead of you, if you choose, is a career. You know, the competition is just this one event. What lies ahead of you is a whole career. And I don't know that there is any other platform that could give you the kind of footing that you have right now. So just go out there. Come on, guys. I mean, your names have been mentioned. I've fast forwarded in my mind what it might be in the next 3 years and how, you know, each of you just start to pop up. And as you contribute to society, society will also reward you monetarily, with fame, and with all the good things that I know are coming your way.
A very big, enormous, gigantic thank you to our legendary judges, the legends, the voices behind the verdict, to the visionary King E, to the eloquent Chioma BBB, the audacious Ahide, and to our guest judge for tonight, the brand master himself, Sheon Shobo. Thank you for sharing of your wealth of your experience and for your beautiful time with us tonight on the VOSTAR Africa. And of course, you should join us for the voiceover conference happening on the 27th of June, 2025. The registration link is on the screen. Click on it and register, and do well to follow us on Instagram at VOSTAR Africa, and on YouTube. Make sure you like, you share, you comment, and you subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's been an honor, pleasure, and a delight serving as the host for the VOSTAR Africa. Remember, the world is your stage. Make it happen. I'm your host, Jadesola Adeodu. Good night.
VOSTAR Africa is brought to you by VoiceOver Workshop and Media.